Blairstown traffic, Skyhawk turning left crosswind, runway 25, Blairstown.
Actually, since it's not a hot day, I usually leave these things open because you bake in here. But
yeah,
today, I'll just close this up. Oh, this is an air vent.
Okay.
So I'll leave it off for now, but if you want some air, you can pull it out and it'll blow some air on you. You've also got an air vent on this little window here.
Yep.
Which if you need some air in your face, you can...
open.
Yep, that's it. So leave the big window closed, but you can open the little window and that'll blow plenty of air in your face if you need it.
Okay.
All right. It's off in here now. There we go. And good, she's coming right back.
So you do controller design.
What's that?
You do controller designs and the electronics to it as well.
Yep.
You ever make any homebrew equipment?
Oh yeah. God, yeah. All kinds of stuff over the years. But I design computers for road rally cars.
Oh, nice.
And I've done some shipboard instrumentation. I actually did a lot of work in the early parts of the GPS system. Not the system itself, but you know, ground equipment using GPS.
Gotcha.
Back when you had to call the Coast Guard and find out when there were going to be satellites overhead.
Blairstown traffic, Skyhawk turning west base, runway 25, Blairstown.
Can I give this to you? Apparently this wasn't pushed in the charger all the way. It's mostly dead.
Oh, I'll make sure it's
So
pushed in.
yeah, the little red light comes on when it's charging.
Gotcha.
Thank you. So Aaron, if you take me out towards the ridge, I'll get off as high as we can get.
Yeah, we'll go hunt around. We'll find something out there.
Sounds good.
Nothing else. Looks like a pretty good spot up over the reservoir there. We'll see what happens.
Blairstown traffic, Skyhawk turning final, runway 25, Blairstown.
Okay, gear is set. Trim is set. Controls are free.
I'm gonna keep my feet
Ready
off of
to-
those pedals this way.
Ready to go. Yeah, you can rest your feet on there. Just don't fight me.
Yep.
That's all. That looks good.
Close. You want to do a test?
Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right, so he's going to pull the rope tight.
Yep.
I will signal Melissa when I'm ready to go, and she'll lift our wing up. When the tow plane's ready, he's going to wag his rudder at us, and when I wag ours back, we roll. And we have some traffic coming in we got to wait for.
Traffic, what's going on? 25 Blairstown.
Okay, expect it to be bumpy on the grass. Once
Yep.
we get in the air, it'll smooth out a little bit. But it's like I said, it's a little bit of a bumpy day today, so.
Blairstown, track ponies are on 25 in the grass with the glider.
Here we go. Okay, so we're up. He needs about another 20 miles an hour. There he goes.
Blairstown traffic, Skyhawk turning left crosswind, runway 25, Blairstown.
So that's the water gap to the left there. If you follow the ridge, you can see the gap in the mountain.
Uh-huh.
Sound traffic, Skyhawk turning left downwind, runway 25 Blairstown.
All right. So you'd appreciate this lake on our left here. That's the lower lake of a pumped storage electrical plant. We'll see in a minute the upper lake up on top of the ridge.
So which reactor was it that I saw coming out here?
What's that?
It looked like I saw cooling towers driving up here.
Yeah, they're off to our left in Pennsylvania.
Is that TMI or a different one?
No. We're nowhere near there.
Blairstown traffic,
That's
Skyhawk turning left
Martins
base, runway
Creek.
25
It's
Blairstown.
just I think it's a natural gas-fired plant.
Gotcha.
But here on our right, the upper lake is empty right now because they're working on it. They're dredging. But all summer long, they've been pumping water up to the top during the day, or during the night rather, and they let it flow back down during the day as a stored electrical plant. Kind of a nice concept.
Turning on left downwind to 7 over.
Blairstown traffic, Skyhawk turning final, runway 25 Blairstown.
New York, great today, Mike. London traffic, our 34 is turning left, crosswind 27, London, we have the other end.
Yeah, we're up to 2,500. Getting there.
That's a city center left place to Salem. London traffic, our 34 left downwind 27, we'll see you later, TD, London,
Oh, Skyhawk.
Good enough out west, on around 25 Blairstown.
All right, there's 3,000 feet. We're doing good. Okay, so at 3,400, I'm going to have you pull that release.
All right.
When we do that, I'm going to make a right turn. The tow plane's going to go left. Keep your camera on the tow plane. He likes to dive away fairly dramatically.
You're going to go to the right, he's going to go to left?
Yes. Okay, go ahead and release.
Turning left downwind, runway 30.
There he goes. Not too dramatic.
traffic, red dog.
Blairstown traffic, Skyhawk turning left, crosswind, runway 25 Blairstown.
Yeah, 1,700 feet, we're flying over the center of the airfield, Stroudsburg, Pocono traffic.
So there we go.
Cool.
Now we're just gliding. Do me a favor, the instrument on the far left of your panel there, it's stuck. Just tap on it.
Blairstown traffic, Skyhawk turning left downwind, runway
There it
25
goes.
Blairstown.
Now,
Keep tapping. There it goes. That's better. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Oh, we're actually got a little lift here. We're climbing. Look at that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we've gained almost 200 feet since we left the tow plane.
Offset, Skyhawk. Final 3.
Sunset taxi on Prospect, turning left base, runway 30, Sunset.
It's warmer than I expected it to
Left
be.
downwind,
It's
25 grass flare.
It's warmer than I expected.
Ah, well, as I told you, this plane seals up pretty well. So any sunshine coming through the canopy, it's just like a greenhouse. Manhattan, straight ahead. Beautiful, clear view. Look at that. Just straight right down the nose. All the way on the horizon.
Strasburg, Pocono, Red Dog,
See it?
111.
Yeah.
Currently 2 miles south.
That's unusual that we can see that far. It's just that
2,000
front coming through has left us with this really clear air.
Somerset, Cherokee. Final runway 30, Somerset.
I'm going to try to come around and find that rising air again. We actually have not lost a foot since we left the tow plane.
Southwest turning west base, runway 25, Blair's Pass.
Lean 44, 2 miles east, Boston 27.
Yep, so now we're in heavy sinking air. And in a second that'll turn around and start rising again. Here it comes. See, that instrument on our far right there tells us if we're going up or down. And right now we're just about holding level.
Westbound traffic,
Yeah.
southwest turning final runway 25, Blair's Pass.
I'm just going to fly along under the clouds here.
We're right even on them.
Strasburg, Pocono.
So this ridge is called the Kittatinny. And this runs all the way from Maine to Georgia. It's like 1,200, 1,300 miles long. And the Appalachian Trail's right along the top of it.
Blair's on tripod to the left base of final 25, Grand Blair's on number 2. Yeah, headed up as far over to 25, 1 mile, final 27.
They've been taking a long time on that upper lake. It's been about 3 weeks now since they flowed all the water out of it and started dredging. Back into sinking air again.
Those are 2 Tango Delta, sun on the left.
What happens is the sun heats up the ground and you get this air rushing upwards. But then it cools, the water condenses out, that makes the clouds, and then it sinks.
Yeah, it didn't occur to me about the fact of the
Alright, we're going to try one more.
the ground versus the sky temperature with the thermals.
Yeah.
Like I saw it all the time when I'd go sailing in the Mediterranean, because by the afternoon, the winds would always kick up. The winds and the seas always kicked up in the afternoon as the day got hotter. And it didn't, I just never had to correlate or think about it very much. Wow.
And you can open that up if you need a little air.
Nah, it's fine. I'm getting, it's got just enough air coming in to be really comfortable.
Okay, good.
And then they got 2 single starting final 7 limit. We have a north grass strip of 27.
Wherever that rising air was, it's disappeared. Trying to get back into it here, but there we go. Come on. It's kind of a black art,
Yeah,
finding some of these thermals. There it is. You can feel that one. It's not very strong, but it's there. There it is. Climbing a little bit now. There we go. That's a decent climb. So that gauge is in hundreds of feet per minute, so it's 400 feet a minute, now 200 feet a minute.
Oh.
So we're climbing up pretty good right now. But it's very narrow. I always picture these things looking a bit like a water fountain.
Yeah.
You have to balance yourself in the middle of it to try to climb. And of course the water that goes up comes down, which is what we're in right now. We're in the sinking air. That's directly adjacent to the rising air. We should get back into it in another moment here. There it comes. There we go. Come on. Okay, now I'm going to try this time, get into the rising air, and bank it over real hard to try to stay in it. We got to make a nice tight circle if we want to stay in this and rise.
And then you got the 2 TDs and the gold system one.
There we go. Look at that. Gained 100 feet just on that one circle. So this is the way gliders travel. We circle, gain as much height as we can, and then pick a direction and go.
And then look for another rise.
And yep, just go from one to the next to the next. On these rides, we don't wander far from the airport because we want to make sure we can always get back and land. But the guys with the private ships, they go out, they do hundreds of miles sometimes this way. But there's always the chance you're going to end up in a cornfield.
How happy are the farmers about that?
Yeah, if you pay them for the damaged crops, they don't usually care. We actually had a guy who came down outside of Lancaster a month or two ago in an Amish farm field, and the Amish were fascinated by the plane because it didn't burn any gasoline or use any electricity. It was an airplane they could get into. But they actually had their glider pulled out of the field by a team of horses, and have a great picture of about a dozen Amish kids who are all excited to see the plane up close. Kind of interesting.
What did he do to take back off?
Oh, he didn't. You put the plane on a trailer at that point and drive it home. The wings come off of these planes, just a couple of bolts. They're designed to be taken apart easily. Landing out, as we call it, is part of the game with gliders. It happens. The FAA doesn't even consider it an emergency. The glider lands in a field, as long as no one was hurt, they don't even want to know about it. So we just went from about 2,400 up to 2,700 feet. I'm kind of losing it now. That was an okay climb.
So what kind of certifications do the tools have to have? I mean, when I was working on spacecraft, we'd have to have torque wrenches that were brought back to national calibration standards, direct traceability, just to make sure that our torque values were right.
Yeah.
Even our nuts, bolts, everything had date lot codes associated with it. This way we were sure that the brake values were proper.
Yeah. Anyone who's working on, like single engine airplanes is similar. Have to be a licensed mechanic, have to have calibrated tools where necessary. However, for pulling the wings on and off a glider, actually the glider pilot's allowed to do that. And nothing is, it's deliberately set up that nothing is torque critical. A lot of them just hold together with drift pins.
Blairstown traffic, Skyhawk turning final, runway 25 Blairstown.
Alright. You can see the wind has been slowly blowing us to the east here.
Yeah.
Good traffic. Helicopter 410 without the...
I was afraid you were going to have a short ride, but this is great.
Is that where we were let? That's not us.
Yeah, that's our airport.
Traffic Foxtrot, going around 25 Blairstown.
Yeah, alright. I'm going to slowly let the altitude drift back downward again.
Mm-hmm. Someone's taking off.
Yep.
UX Blairstown advisory on the airport. CFR automated weather advisory. Wind 330 at 4. Visibility 10. Sky conditions clear. Temperature 11 Celsius. Altimeter 29 or 89er. Density altitude missing.
Blairstown traffic, Skyhawk turning crosswind, runway left crosswind, runway 25 Blairstown.
Hello, 0 Tango Delta inbound for that hot juice, please.
Blairstown traffic, Skyhawk turning left downwind, runway 25 Blairstown.
Yeah, Skyhawk at Blairstown. Just be aware, glider's about 1,000 feet directly over your head, no factor.
Donovan side 9.
There's a nice view of the water gap off to the right there. Follow the ridge, you can see the where it dips down. So what kind of satellites did you work on?
Communication. Like one of the first ones I built was the very first satellite for Dish Networks.
Oh, okay.
Then a few for NOAA, the weather predicting satellites.
Yep. I've always loved the space program. I never did find any work in it.
No, I majored in
Traffic, Skyhawk turning left base, runway 25
communication
Blairstown.
systems and things of that like. So it kind of fell right into it.
Nice.
Of course, all of that's really limited now. Fiber optics just
Get to the pattern, Aaron.
smoked that completely.
Yeah, I've done a lot of reverse engineering on obscure computer networks. We get some, I used to do a lot of work for interfacing with printing presses. And we had a lot of companies that did one-offs. You know, they invented their own protocol for things. And then the company go out of business and we're trying to retrofit modern controls.
Yeah.
So I'd have to design interfaces that would speak basically speaking a dead language.
Runway 25 Blairstown.
That was always fun to sit out there with sometimes with a logic analyzer for hours trying to just figure out synchronization and then look at packet structure. And I had a pretty good track record of getting it done though. It was kind of fun. So we're down to 2,000 feet. Then we get down to around 1,700 or so. I'm going to start heading back towards the runway. For the moment, I'm just going to keep drifting around out here.
Natives crossing runway 25 at Blairstown, anybody on base and final? Got one sky from the downwind, you got time.
Oh, sorry, Skyhook. That's downwind.
I got a Skyhawk up you in the upwind there. Affirmative. Get sight, thanks.
You ever have any issues with the with drones, or do people just know to stay away?
Actually, last year they were doing some kind of special event adjacent to the airport, and there were people flying drones and getting a little too close to the runway. Generally speaking, I haven't seen many.
Right turn out after departure.
I was talking to someone from the FAA about that the other day, and they've been trying to, at least for commercial drones, they've been using them along areas where there's not a lot of air traffic. You know, along power lines, things like that.
Turning left crosswind, runway 25, Blairstown.
Okay, we're gonna head in now. So for landing this thing, we use the spoilers out on the wings to control our descent. So if you look out on the wings there, that's like putting a parachute out. It heavily increases our descent rate. Blairstown traffic gliders on a left 45 for 25 on the grass, Blairstown.
Blairstown traffic ponies on 25, congrats to the glider.
Alright, so what we're going to do is fly a standard pattern, which is a box shape of left-hand turns. And that lets me just feel out the wind before we land. Also, all the planes fly the same pattern, so they know where to look for us, we know where to look for them. So right now we're downwind with the wind at our tail. I use a little bit of those spoilers to start the plane coming down. Blairstown traffic glider, left downwind, 25 on the grass, Blairstown.
Tiffany is taking active 25 for immediate departure, Blairstown. Blairstown, Trinidad, clear the active Blairstown. Plate, check. Check the man. Yep.
Blairstown traffic glider turning left base, 25 grass, Blairstown. Alright. Blairstown traffic glider final, 25 grass, Blairstown.
Commander's parting Blairstown on the left, crosswind into the downwind.
Blairstown traffic, Skyhawk turning left crosswind, runway 25, Blairstown.
Runway 25, Blairstown. Okay, get up and hands on the crosswind on the departure.
Alright.
I think they're basement. One Skyhawk's left base, runway 25,
And we're down.
And we're down.
Right where we started from. Alright, hang on a sec, I'll let you out.
Blairstown
Yep.
traffic ponies on midfield, left downwind 25, grass, Blairstown, number 2 behind the Skyhawk. Take out a Bonanza, crosswind and downwind, we're at 2,000. How about 1,000 for the Pawnee and I'm insight towards the airport to Bonanza. Do that, have a good day.
Alrighty.
That one stays on.
Blairstown
Okay,
traffic,
good.
Skyhawk
I'll
turning
hold the
left,
nose
runway
down.
25,
Just climb on out.
Maybe.
Maybe. It's challenging. Everything about gliders is challenging, right from the get-go.
Blairstown traffic ponies left base, 25, grass, Blairstown, number 2.
Alrighty. Help me with one thing. Grab the wingtip. I'm just gonna turn the plane sideways. Walk it forward. Good. Lift that up. Okay. Yeah, just want to put this other one.
Oh, you wanted this one up.